Okay, we're making a video on fixing a blind string. There should be two strings coming out of here. One broke off and is inside. And the first thing we did was we removed the blind from the window. Up here, you raise the blind all the way to the top, and then you have to reach behind it, and there's a little screw here that you unscrew, which lets you then unclip from both sides. You unscrew this one too, and it lets you pull off the blind. So it was mounted like this, and underneath you have access to that screw, and then it basically just pull it off and it comes off pretty easily. So once off, make sure it is pulled all the way up before you pull it off, because it'll be really awkward to work with if you don't have it all the way up. It actually is a little tricky to get up because one side will go up and the other side will be like this, but you have to just, I found using my fingers like this, going up and down from both sides underneath, I was able to bring the other side up. Definitely need to get it all the way up like that before you go any further. So the first thing we need to do is pull off this piece. There's a section here that pulls out, basically squeeze and wiggle a bunch to pull these sides out. So let me try here. Just pressure it, and I don't know whether the squeezing is important, but if you wiggle, you'll see how with pulling out and wiggling, it will just slowly come out, and then it'll pop all the way off at some point. There it goes. I want to get this wire loose. It might be holding this up. So make sure this wire's not holding you. On this side here, the string. So make sure that's loose, and then it comes out pretty easily. So we only have one string here, the other string's caught in between. After you pull this out a ways, we're going to be able to slide this off, but we need to get the other piece off also. The second string, which should come in this direction, is broken, so it's hidden underneath here, which is going to be a problem to fix. This is the end of the string here, but the part that's broken is not coming out of the top. So I put a rubber band to hold this together because we're going to need this together. And on the bottom here, this is the bottom of the shade, you'll notice a little piece of tape and then a loose piece of string, and we're going to need to use a screwdriver to pry this little stopper here out. So we're going to pry that now. So I pried it a bunch to start it to come loose, and now I'm going to use pliers to just pull this off, and it'll pop off. And there it is. So I just I grabbed it with the pliers and just twisted and pulled, and it eventually just popped off. It's a little tricky to get off, but it does come off pretty easily. Now, unfortunately, if you're lucky, you will have part of the string sticking out on this side, which will allow you to use the string, there'd be a little piece of string coming out and sitting here, and then you can tie your new string to that and then feed it through. But here it broke in between somewhere in here, and so this is just going to pull out, and I can pull it out because I can't really leverage it, but this is going to pull out, and it's just in there somewhere. A fair amount is coming out. Wow. It's pretty crazy how much is coming out. Look how much has come out so far. But it's just caught inside there somewhere. My God, look how long that is. That was all just inside these things, and now we have to try to find a way to feed a new string through. So we're probably gonna have to use a needle and thread. That's what I've used before, so let me get that. Okay, so I have a needle and some thread, and I'm going to try to thread the needle through the hole. If you have a really long needle, it'll be much easier. This one's on the shorter side, so I'm going to squeeze this together real tight and hopefully be able to push the needle through. I might have to use something to push the needle in, but if I get it through, then I'll have this thread, which I can then use to pull the main new string through. Okay, I was able to Scotch tape a nail to the end of the needle, which made it long enough to get through, I believe. So let's try this now. So we're putting the needle and the nail in. Squeeze this and push, and hopefully it's going to come through the other end if we just wiggle it a little bit. And it's come through, so I've got the needle going through. So now I have the thread coming through, and I'll be able to tie the new string to the thread and feed it through. Okay, so what I did here was I tied with a knot the thread to the new string. This is the new string we're going to feed through. And I also Scotch taped the two so that it's really tight, because as we pull that thread through, we don't want this to come off. So it's tied with the knot right here, and then it's taped from there to the end, and just a little bit of tape so it's not too thick, and that way it's nice and bonded together. Okay, it's been a little tricky, but this top piece here I slid back and forth so that I could get at least the string and thread through this first hole here, and then I got it to here, and now I have to get it into here all the way through to there. So we have the string with the thread sitting here, and we should be able to go the rest of the way now. So we're all ready to pull through. We've got it right there. And I took some of the tape off. The Scotch tape didn't do too good. So now we're going to feed it in and pull through. So I got it in on this side, and we're just going to pull on this side. I got it through, yippee! Okay, now we need to take this string off the stopper, and you basically pull the short end, and you'll see how it pops off. So
So if you pull hard enough, I use some pliers, you'll see this little piece come off, and that's just looped around. I don't know if I can show you close up, but the string is just looped around this little stopper or nozzle. Okay, there you can see how it loops. Just loops around it. And then when this gets pulled, it's tight. So I'm putting it on the new string that's coming out. Put this piece on first. Don't forget to put that piece, and you put this piece, and you have to. It should go only a certain way. It looks like there's a little cutout in this second piece that should be on the outside. And then what we're going to need to do is loop this around and feed it through that second little one, which will cause it to sort of knot and allow us to make a nice tight fit. Well, I tried to loop it around that other piece with no luck, so I just tied a knot at the end, and then it pulls the little piece into it. So I think that's going to hold also. So we'll just go with that. I did loop it through on another one, but it's just not working right now. Okay, so now we can pull this string up, and that will tighten against that. I guess you can push it in here to reseat it. And then it looks like you put a little piece of tape on it here. String comes out this side. We're going to have to feed it through that, but first we need to get the length figured out. So what we're going to do to figure out the length that we need is we can just, this is the second string that we're going to be working, that it works with. So if you get those two lined up with the shade fully closed properly and make sure that's taut, then you know they both need to be there at that point, and then just hold it there and go out and keep following out how far you want to go to match up. So I keep holding them together, going out together, and that will determine, this is the end here of the string. And then I would take a little extra, so I'm going to cut it a little below where it ends, probably down here. And that gives me a little slack in case I'm a little off. Now, since we didn't get through this top little section after I cut it, I can feed through this top section, and we're also going to go through this little mounting item next. Okay, I was able to get it first through here and then through the mounting. This was pretty tricky. There's not much room to get through there, so one technique I did was I just recut the end and then licked it to get it as tight as possible, and then I was able to feed it through. Okay, so I have my new string coming out here. This was the existing other string for the other direction. And then this is the string that's going to go with this one together through the same path as that string that was left that wasn't broke, and we're going to feed it through right through here. It just simply goes in this little hole there, and then it has to come through and this little metal clip. Okay, so I got it going down and through there, and this is a little tricky, but just follow the same path as the other string. You sort of push this back, and then there's this little lever here that you have to go through the same path. That's an ingenious little mechanism. That's what allows the string to hold or catch or release. And once you have that all set up, and the string taunt for both strings, we're going to be able to slide this piece back over and mount this on. Didn't really need to take this piece all the way off. I just slid it over to start. It's sort of disconnected, but you'll see as we slide this back. When you come back, make sure your strings, there should be 2 strings coming out through it. Your new one just comes over here, but the 2 existing are there. Make sure the string stays in the center of this piece as we slide it over. Then we need to be careful when we slide it over this mounting bracket so that this bracket fits directly into that piece. Okay, so we're ready to put the 2 end pieces on. This centerpiece we slid. You don't slide it all the way to the end. You slide it until it's equally off that side and equally off that side, and that will allow these 2 pieces to clip in. Just make sure the string on this side, the string has to go under this little lip here. See if I can show you on this one. No, it's off the lip too. So let me get them under the lip and then I'll show you. Okay, so you can see here there's a little section where the string goes under that little lip. Here's my brother-in-law Paul, he's helping me out.
Moral support.
And it goes underneath there. Then we can now clip these in. So you keep the string taut and then stick it in and then start wiggling. And it will slowly go in. Just make sure your string's taut so it doesn't come off of where it is. And you just push, and then you line up these 2 sections. Yeah, okay. So again, we have to have the string underneath that, and then keep the string taut, stick it in there, and just start wiggling. And what's wrong here?
What's it called?
This goes like that. Doesn't seem off, does it? No, it's just going to be lined up like that. So that's how it lines up.
Okay, that's good.
Good. The knot is a little loose here. So we're going to take a piece of tape, pull our new string, which is a little thicker, should pull that up. Make sure that's pressed in good, and then just tape it down. I think that's what they like to see, like that. And we should be good to go. So let's mount it. Hold these together. You know what? We didn't do this section here yet. So hopefully our new string is of the right length. Good, it's a little longer. I left a little bit of room. So we have to undo this piece, and we're going to put a whole new connector on here. Take this piece, we're going to reuse that piece. This section we're going to redo with a new bracket. So I'll probably just cut this off. I don't know if I can do these knots over. They're tiny little knots, so I don't think we're going to have enough room. So let's cut this off. Pull it off of this loop here, which we're not going to use. Pull this off. Now we have our 2 strings. Get them lined what you need to do is make sure the shade is even, and then pull both of these strings. Make sure both are fully pulled, because there could be slack in one of them.
No slack.
And then hold these together and get them to the exact same length.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you want them the exact same length?
Yep.
Yes.
And then cut it so we have both the exact same length. And
Nice and tight.
tie them together. Oh, haha. Before you tie them together, you gotta put, I always forget to do this. You gotta use, got these new sets of things. We've got to put this through first. Camera done by Paul Raven here. And then these brackets are used,
Because Nick needs 2 hands to do this.
right, and with a knot on the end. So we're gonna put these together, same length, create a, you know what, I think I'm going to do this last piece after I have it mounted to make sure that it's the right length, because you want to make the knot in these when you've got these two. I cut it, but and it's probably going to be pretty close, but I did find that it can be just a fraction off. So let's mount this now, and then we will do that last piece. So we're going to hold it up here, and I usually like separate the top a little bit, and basically you want to clip it in to there's a little section that it clips into at the top there, and then it slides in. So let's see if we can even hear it click.
There it goes. Sounded like a nice click to me.
Yeah. Screw.
Tighten it up.
Screw. And it gets very connected. So then we're going to do it here again. So we're sort of trying to clip the back top up. And then sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't, but it's sort of, you push it in there, and then when you screw up, it basically holds on to the plastic section, and you just wiggle it and you can feel that it's very secure. So let's just first test this. And it works! We done good.
All right.
This was the section that was working already, so that's working still. But here now you can see it's not perfectly centered. We do want to make sure this is level. What I usually do is I level it with this window here. So you can see it's not perfectly square.
But it's not all the way up top. It's not all the way up top.
Well, that doesn't matter. It's
No?
the bottom here that we're trying to see
Oh.
if we get it level. So we're going to
Yeah, okay.
hold them together.
Oh, now it's okay.
So now with this, you can put this, I usually put it on that way into there,
Snap it in.
push it in, and that fits underneath. And then we use the old piece of extender, which is this, and that clips in right in here.
Right, so that short people can reach it.
Right.
Like your
Any
wife.
Just press any extra
Cord
cord in
inside.
there, and
Voila!
Voila!
It is done.
Now it's time to drink. Take care.
Don't forget to subscribe.